Hey, how are you doing out there right now? We are going live. Bear with us. We are on multiple platforms right now, and we want to make sure that we get all of those up and running for you. So, hey, how's it going? How are you tonight, Jim? We're just rolling right into it on Patriots Inside the Wire. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Good to be here again.
Right. So this is Mr. Jim McCullum right here. Uh, Jim, you can say, I always say, I am a mother and a patriot, and we like to get out our information and gather stories for you that are true. And tonight on Patriots Inside the Wire, we actually have a patriot that everyone is going to look and go, that's Hollywood. You need to stick around and see. I was like, I want to look up the world record for how many kids that someone has had is in the military at one time. So stand by as we're rolling through this, and we will bring her in, and you'll have Jim and I to give you some updates. We want you to know what's going on out there. Let's go.
Giving a voice to the voiceless. We share the stories behind our freedoms and the ultimate sacrifice of those who protect us all. This is Patriots Inside the Wire.
Someone who was willing to give his life for his country and served honorably in Iraq. Beautiful thing to see the family and friends come together and honor his life and his service to our country.
Great to see you guys out here. This is awesome, really.
Welcome to the Patriots Inside the Wire broadcast, hosted by Gold Star mom, Tracy Two-Step.
How are you doing out there? We are live right now with you. We have a guest that's coming up, Jim. I know that you've seen the flyer of what we have coming up tonight, and we haven't talked much, but it's very good to see you here. Just to catch some people up, Jim, you can introduce yourselves and we'll roll into it.
Absolutely. I'm Jim McCollum. I'm a Gold Star father, United States Marine Lance Corporal Riley McCollum. I'm so excited for this one tonight. The number of kids that she has serving, and it's kind of a strange feeling for me. I don't know her. I've never met her, never spoken with her, but there's just that sense of family because she has children in the military. It's kind of like the Gold Star families. You just, as a parent, your arms just encircle and embrace those kids. So I'm excited for this one.
I am too. It's funny because I have not told anyone. Obviously, part of the show. So everyone out there, say welcome to Jim McCullum for Patriots Inside the Wire. If you haven't figured it out yet, Jim is a co-host here at Patriots Inside the Wire. As Patriots, I am a mother who has also lost someone serving in the Army. So you got both here representing Sergeant Two-Step. You can probably look all around me. That is my son. I always do this. That's works for me. So that's where I go with it. But Jim, it's interesting because I thought everyone that sees this ad is going to go, how does that relate to our topics? And when I started talking to our guest, and this is why I don't want to say her name yet. And if you're following us, you already know the last name's Remini. If you know anything about King of Queens, this is a comedy show that was out there, and that's why it says Hollywood to Health. We'll let her tell her story. But Jim, you're correct. When I heard how many kids, people probably have no clue about this part. I caught on to it. I was just kind of watching and sitting back and going, wait a minute. She's got more than one kid in the military. Wait a minute. I'm confused. I see multiple. And so we'll be able to ask her about that. But then we bonded over that. So it was something that brought us together. Not only her story, your story, our story out there in the world right now. This is someone who has decided to use their own voice and platform to create a safer environment, when there are obstacles that get in the way, and I'm pronunciating here. Remember, we're a podcast too that will go out. Don't you make fun of me. On Patriots Inside the Wire, you can say that was Tracy Two-Step. But Jim, yes. So when our guest gets in, I'll let her tell the story. But yes, multiple kids in the military, very patriotic, and a very big supporter of someone that I was just like, I'm not going to tell that part. I'm just going to let her do that for herself. But early voting starts where I'm at, Jim, next Monday. We're down to 19 days and 5 hours. I'd have to look at my phone for the minutes, but and then where you're at, how's it going there?
Good. Wyoming is pretty much a lock-in year after year.
Right.
In the electoral college, our 3 don't seem to matter. It seem to be as important as some of the other states, but the energy for people to vote, especially on the conservative side, and that tailors down to local races and stuff. But there is definitely there's a little bit of fire in everybody to make sure they get out and vote. It really is. This is the vote of our lifetime. You hear that every election cycle, but this truly is. We're on the brink of, we're either going to have a country or we're not. So I think people are starting to pay attention. And after watching I don't know if you've seen anything on the interview today on Brett Baer. We look better than we did before because she absolutely bombed today on that interview. It was horrible.
I was going to let you go there. Tell me a little bit about that, Jim, and let's see if we can get some people to understand what you're saying there, because I was hoping you went there.
Yeah, Brett Baer did an interview with her. It was going to be recorded, of course. Nothing's ever going to be live. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. As of today, before they even did the video, or the recording, they cut it down to 15 or 20 minutes. And she showed up with exactly 15 minutes. I was a little worried what kind of questions he would ask, whether he would do what I've seen him do in the past, or if he was going to cater to what we've seen the last few weeks. And he hit her with some questions, and he didn't let her just filibuster through them. And she couldn't answer anything. Her answer to everything was blame Trump. Trump did this. This was Trump. She absolutely failed. And Brett Baer, after the interview, he was back on Fox. I think Martha McCallum was on there, Dana Perino. He said it was the equivalent of a boxing match where you're getting beat so badly that they throw in the towel. He said there were 4 or 5 people from her team waving their arms that they are done, no more, and they ended the interview. It was bad. It was as bad as you can imagine.
Wow. And so, Jim, where did you tune in to watch this? I just want people to know where you're getting your information for your news.
I'm embarrassed to say it, but I find it on TikTok. I follow certain programs and also on X.
Okay.
I verify one with the other to make sure what I'm seeing is legit.
All right.
I don't watch mainstream media anymore. I haven't since 2020. It's all the same. They're all owned by the same people, and you're not getting the truth when you watch it. So I found different avenues where, and I do, even if I find it on X and it's somebody that I trust and is, reputable, I'll find somewhere else to make sure what I'm seeing is correct. And what I saw today was straight from Brett Baer's mouth. So I'm pretty sure it was legit.
I agree with you. And so for our listeners out there and those watching, again, Patriots Inside the Wire is live right now. It is a video live on a broadcast channel, all social platforms, but we're also a podcast. So this is going to go out again on everywhere that you want to listen to a podcast in the next 24 hours. So Jim, I wanted to tell them, because some people don't know this. I don't think you need to say you're embarrassed. Number one, our kids have served, and I don't think we need to say sorry. So I am all good with anything there. This is the reason we're here, is we can't get censored. And no one ever said, hey, Tracy, what did you do before he was taken from you, before he was killed? That's my son. Well, I worked in a corporate environment, and I did do things that were related to exactly what we're doing. So I said, yeah, I can't. I just can't, for multiple reasons. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to censor. I am not going to follow. Now, I know how to be respectful. but I just can't do it, Jim, after what I've experienced now. I mean, I just can't do it. So we're on here at Patriots Inside the Wire. No penny, no money tree, no nothing. This is our time. Do we want to find sponsors? Yes, we do, but that is not what the show is about. This show is so, as Jim mentioned, he can tell you where he's getting his information. And when, Jim, you said X, I always explain this. X is formerly Twitter. And then I wasn't old enough, but MySpace was out there. So now they've had a baby and it's X Spaces. So if you go on to X, which was formerly Twitter, there are multiple spaces in there, and I call it X Spaces. And you can listen in a podcast format to multiple people, and you'd be very surprised on who you're going to get. So I don't want to give all of our secrets, but we are very appreciative to our base that we have, which is outside the normal. It is not, we are in a broadcast channel. We are in a station's broadcast system. So we are able to reach multiple channels at once. So that's a good thing. But we pay to do that so that we don't have to say sorry. And voting is coming up, Jim. So, as you and I discussed, and, we want you all to stay with us and check out what we've got coming. Jim, I'll get with you about next week, but I think we're going to have to pull in some heavy hitters.
Yes.
I do have one for us on the end of this month, but I think we will need to add in another one. So I think you'll be up for it.
I haven't shared this with you, but I'm leaving town tomorrow and then flying to Pittsburgh, and I'll be with Trump Saturday.
No way.
Yeah. So
Did y'all hear that?
Actually speaking at his rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday.
So you
I'm doing my part.
You cannot make this up. Jim McCollum just told us he is going to Pittsburgh. Now, I have been like this about Pennsylvania going, come on, I have family there. And I am like, what do we need to do? Jim McCollum right here is Riley McCollum's father. I want to point that out. Afghanistan 13 is going to Pittsburgh, and he will be speaking for Trump on Saturday, Jim?
Yes.
Now, where can we tune into this?
That I don't know yet.
I'm going to grab you after. We may have to do a special. You'll grab your phone.
Got flight arrangements taken care of today, and I'm going with several of the other families. Darren Hoover, who was on last week, the Lopez family will be there. The Key family will be there. So it's we're looking forward to it, and it's no secret we all heavily support Donald J. Trump for president. Yeah.
Yes.
So we do what we can to keep pushing his message and get our stories out there and why this is so important. The policies that have taken course over nearly 4 years have absolutely destroyed the fabric of America. And I'm not ashamed to say their decisions killed my kid. They put those wheels in motion and they allowed it to happen. So I am absolutely against the current administration, and we've got to do a hell of a lot better in this country.
Jim, as you've been out there listening, so number one, I'm going to have to get you on the back channel about Saturday. And
Absolutely.
Listen, I just heard him say that Darren Hoover's going. I can't wait. Don't jump on YouTube like last time. I will personally open the studio, and however many of you want to come with you can stand there and go, this is what we just did. And you can put out whatever you want, Jim. And that way, whoever's covering this story there, you have your own platform. So we can open that up. You can grab Darren and whoever wants to, or if it's just you. I would love to hear the truth about being there in person and what had just happened. It's very, very important that we get true stories out. People that are literally working right beside. Now, listen, y'all, this was a surprise to me too. So I knew that several of us were working on where are we going to be? What are we going to do? Just like today I was. And I said, well, I will think about this. There's something going on with me Saturday, but so you and I both will be doing something on Saturday, but I want to get yours. So Saturday, I'm free. Let's get together on the back channels. If everybody heard that, Jim McCollum, other families, the Afghanistan 13. I hope you know what that means if you're listening, and I do not need to explain that. If I do, it's our service members we're serving. Roddy McCollum is Jim's son, and he's going to Pittsburgh. I'm like, I have been doing this. Somebody please get there, get to Pennsylvania. I'm like, come on, we can do this. We've got to do it. We've been living a life that we don't want anyone else to even try to understand. We don't want them to feel it. It's like you lose your kid in life. That's horrible in itself. And then for it to be serving our country, man, it's like, how could we be quiet? I mean, the truth is the truth. You can't cover that one. We just, everyone should go back, right, Jim? We just covered the Border Patrol agent that's related to me and Javier Vega Jr. I have to say his name. I'm sorry, y'all. You say the name of those. Marine Border Patrol agent. Shout out to Marie, my people right now, because I know that health-wise, they need us to be watching for them.
Yes.
So Jim will be in Pittsburgh this Saturday. So you need to pay attention to Patriots Inside the Wire. We've got a few things going on. So Jim, that's excellent. I'm so happy to hear that. And Darren, I can't wait to see what Darren says.
Yeah.
That should be interesting to be in Pennsylvania. And I just hope it goes in a very, I know it will, but I want the words to get to the people who are kind of going, well, and you know what we've heard. We've heard, well, hey, we could have a female president for the first time, everyone. And I'm like, no firsts. We don't need any firsts right now.
No.
You may not like the language of someone. We tell everybody, don't judge, do the work, get in there. So I say, pay attention to statistics, pay attention to the job. You don't have to go home with the man. You do not have to have a personal relationship, but you do need to have someone that has a business relationship that understands in order to move certain pieces that we need to move in our country.
Yep.
Listen, are we going to get 100% exactly out of each person what we all agree on? No, you are kidding yourself. That's not going to happen, but we are going to be able to have someone that will be able to do the job and not worry about, oh, wait, I got to run again in 4 years. So let's just not do that. No, we've got someone that can step right back and go, I've already done it, been there. There is no time to waste. So, I have not heard a debate yet because I don't argue. I call it it's a healthy thing. You don't have to agree with me. You can literally turn this off or just get educated and informed. And I like to do that. I really do want to hear everybody's information to us. And when I get it, I really do try to come from the heart and think, okay, let me try to absorb this. And, kindness is a real thing. So I say, be kind, but be open to hearing and listening.
Yes.
To others, people. I'm talking about people. So, Jim, I don't know, do it from the heart. Just stick to what you've been doing, and it's going to be great. So I cannot wait. So
thank you.
Yes, cannot wait.
On a similar note, on just the character that I've experienced in my meetings with President Trump. I believe he was in, I want to say Philadelphia yesterday, and I can't remember. Kristi Noem was, they did a town hall, and it was really hot in the place that they were in. A couple people had passed out. One passed out. The medical teams, the doctors were taking care of him. About 5 minutes later, someone on the other side passed out. And President Trump, in true fashion, he was concerned. So he stopped taking questions. He wanted to make sure everybody was okay. He was praising the doctors. And then he basically said, you know what, we're done with the Q&A. Everybody sit down. He made them open the doors. Secret Service did not want to open the doors to the event for safety reasons. And you can basically hear him in his microphone as he's talking to him, open the doors. We've got to get some cool air in here. And then he played music for about 30 minutes. Nobody left. Everybody stayed put. They sang Hallelujah. The YMCA song was on and they were dancing to that. And he played several others. And he got absolutely ridiculed. People would take clips of him just standing there, not answering questions, holding the mic and kind of just dancing back and forth. And he just got absolutely run through the coals. He's not fit. He can't answer questions. No, he was being compassionate, letting the medical teams take care of these two people. And there's a leader right there for you. We're going to stop this. We're not going to impede on what these guys are doing to help these two individuals. We're going to be respectful and honor them. And we'll just sit here together and listen to music. And he asked the crowd, are you guys okay with this? Everybody absolutely was okay with it. But it just goes to show the mentality is probably not the right word, but there is such a lack of compassion from people that they absolutely hate this man for zero reason. He has never personally done one thing to them. He has not made their life harder or worse, just the opposite. The 4 years he was in, he pretty much made everybody's life across the country better. But there is such a disdain for him, mostly from the media, that you have to hate him. And they do in such a vile way. And it's so sad to see, because that is not the man I've met. That is not the man I know. And that is not the man that I support.
Right. Jim, I have a question for you before our guest gets in here. Did you watch and see? And so again, I don't usually tell where, but listen, this is a true story, and I don't care which side you're on. They were spinning the story this week about using our own military, the statement that was made about if necessary.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on that one?
Saying that they're spouting out there that Trump has said he will use our own military against our own citizens, our law enforcement against our own citizens, and basically doing what they're doing to him right now by using the justice system to attack his political opponents, put people in jail. You take a word or a phrase out of context and then run with it. And the more they spin it, the more all of a sudden it becomes the truth in people's minds. And it is, and that there again, find your source, double check your source. If you listen to that and you think it's real, it's like, well, maybe I should check on that and figure it out. But you can't go to ABC, you can't go to NBC, you can't do your mainstream media. Go find other sources, find the whole clip. See exactly what he said, for one. And you can actually do that on Google. In most instances, you can find exactly what was said. YouTube has it almost always. Listen to the whole speech or the whole sentence and then draw your conclusions from there.
Right.
But just to have somebody, and Kamala did it today on the Brett Baer interview. She brought up the whole Charlottesville thing, and he's called military losers and suckers. And she brought up exactly what you're talking about. And Brett Baer, to his credit, kind of nixed her there and said, no, that's not the case. But yeah, you gotta do your own work sometimes. You gotta figure it out for yourself. Critical thinking. You've got to, hey, this doesn't sound right, or wow, that's a little off the cuff. I better check into that. Don't take things on face value just because you saw a news flash on Facebook or on the news channel.
Right.
Because it's not correct. And
I am 100% with you on that one. Now we'll get messages, I already know, because we're saying 100%. And I'm like, well, listen, I will listen to the other side and tell you, are there things that we need to work on? Of course.
absolutely.
I don't deny that. But what I do have a problem with is all this judging and all this like narrow-minded, like it's got to be this small lane of what we're going down. And I'm like, no, you really don't want to have to get to the point where you can get a phone call to speak because of situations like we're on this screen, we know why we don't want someone running in a certain office, because that directly was a downline that affected, I know for me, I know exactly, come look on my wall, you can't see whose it is. It's Trump. And it's not from serving. It is for his service. My son, Sergeant Two-Step, it is for his service. It is the way that he was killed, and it is what we were working on. And that was put out when he was no longer in, is how I'll put that. Again, freedom of speech, my rights, and having a son and having him go in the military. Don't dare send me a message like that, or send me one and let's talk. Let's actually talk. And I agree to disagree. So I am fine with that. It's just that I really want us to bring the information, get the facts. There's a lot of people like us right now, Jim, some people are going on Facebook, and that's great. I like it when people are getting involved. Some people are on X, as you mentioned, or as you mentioned with Brett. We actually get to go through a studio and made sure that we were able to be in multiple channels. We never give our actual broadcast channel name. We really want you to follow Patriots Inside the Wire, because that's where you're going to get our information and our show. But we do want to stress, yes, we aren't just on a social media platform live. We are all over right now. So yes, you're seeing us in multiple areas right now, and we're glad that you are on Patriots Inside the Wire. You can find that really on anything nowadays, and it'll be in a podcast format. We're out there on every commercial area. Wherever you listen to a podcast, you will be able to hear this as well. So tonight, as our guest comes in, Mrs. Remini, she is kind of strange when we're doing this live show and you get a message from someone. You just told me what you just told me, and I had been following up today, everybody, about Trump, Donald J. Trump, and figuring out for us in the show what is the best route we could take to get direct information. And so I just looked down and I was like, okay, we have a message. True story. So my answer is going to be yes, but I'll get with you on that one too, Jim. Before Mrs. Remini comes in, we wanted Jeff here is saying hello to you. Hi there, Jeff. I see his picture there. Jeff, we've got the true story right after that happened. We had the person come in that was sitting there. You may want to go watch that one. I saw your picture.
I got to say hi to Jeff, another childhood friend of mine. I've known him forever.
All right, Jeff, share this. Tell everybody. Start
I think
listening.
John was on last week saying hello.
Well, there you go. So get all your childhood buddies, round it up, and tell them you need to start watching some real stuff. If you like reality shows, if you like true stories, we're not a reality show. I'm basically telling you, fine. If you want the true stories, then there are true stories. In this era of the digital era, there's not an excuse for finding the information. Will you find a lot of false information? Oh, yes, you will. And that's why we're here. So, Jim, I'm so glad that you're here with us. We've got our head of security that we will never bring out on the stage, but they're there. And it's for a reason. And I'm sure people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of keyboard warriors that think that, it's easy to sit behind a computer and attack someone, or you might disagree with things. I'm going to let you know that, yes, we do. We have Patriots head of security. We have a whole production team standing behind us, not just them, but I would think that we have a good amount of our Patriots who are paying attention. So we did have to get security, not for horrible reasons, but for the right reasons. It was the right thing to do. So thank you for that. We won't say his name. Jim. So as the families come in, there's going to be about 3 to 4 of the families that will go.
Yep.
I know Darren.
Yep. And then the Lopez family will be there.
Okay.
Hunter's parents, and Nicole G's aunt and mother-in-law will be there. And Jared Schmidt's dad was going to try to make it, but he has a wonderful thing he's doing where he's at in honor of vets, basically building a retreat. And they just closed on their first one, I believe, this morning. So he had to cancel his trip this weekend. But we're all talking and everybody's so excited and everybody was on board. Taylor's mom, Kelly Barnett, she'll also be speaking with me. We're the two speakers this time. So yeah, it's a good showing of our kids. Again, a lot of Patriots in there and people going for the right reasons. So I'm excited to see them again. I think I've told you before, when we're all together and then we leave, there's that empty spot because they have become family. They really, it's a different kind of family, but man, we lean on each other. Darren and I actually talked about this a little bit last week. You rely on each other and you lean on each other so much that when you're not together, there's a missing. You just want that it's kind of a safety net with each other. You can laugh, you can cry, we can take care of business, but we can all just go be together and we're okay. So I'm really looking forward to reuniting with them again. And it's only been a month. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward.
I am, our guests coming in here and listening. I'm glad that you're talking for us, our guest. We're getting her a new link. So she's coming in. She's not in our station, so but she's coming. But yes, so the families, the Afghanistan 13 families, I just heard that you're all going to want to. Taylor's saying that here it is. You can see those, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And
he's telling us.
Taylor, love that man too. That is one I rely on. It's not so filtered. Google and what's the other one? Brave or whatever the heck it is. They'll scrub a bunch of Donald Trump stuff off there. You can find a lot of negative things, but you don't see the positive things, which is a shame. Another shame in our society today, where big tech has so much power and influence over our elections. It doesn't seem right, and it shouldn't be right, but they really do have power and control over what we're allowed to see, which is another reason why you have to check it on so many multiple levels to make sure you're getting the truth and you're finding, the actual quote or the actual statement or the actual video versus just what's thrown out there in your face.
I fully agree with that. We're getting her a link. Nicole is she's in a studio, but it's not ours. So Jim, if you'll keep us going, I'm just getting her a link is what I'm doing. So everybody stick by.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling her to be the studio wherever it is. And she will be with us. It is Mrs. Remini. Remini is coming. She has 4 active duty military. She has a story to come in, and we want her to be able to tell it, but she's been in a studio, and I'm like, not this one. So we're waiting for her to come in, and it is Nicole, the production team that was on King of Queens, and that's why it says Hollywood in there. And so forgive me for popping in and out, but she's sending us a message. So
that part of her story is also really interesting to me, because you think Hollywood anymore and you just kind of shove that aside, but there are still some positive, great, wonderful patriots that are involved with Hollywood. You just don't get to hear or see much of that.
Well, I can see that Nicole is backstage in the right station. So we actually had some great news. We'll tell Nicole. I'm just going to bring her up. This is Nicole Remini. You're going to recognize that last name. And I'm glad that, Jim, we were able to get that information. Let's tell Nicole. Nicole Remini, welcome to the show. How are you, Nicole?
I'm great, you guys. I guess I've been waiting on the wrong link this whole time, but I've been watching it live. So I'm like, when are they going to bring me in? So I'm glad you texted me because I've been sitting there.
I usually don't. I'm so sorry. I was looking at Jim and I was like, Jim Carriers, I need to look at my phone because she would have been here. So I'm like, something's not right. But we have your face right there. I was like, let me just, not being rude. Jim carried it. Jim
he did a great job. Everything you guys were talking about, I was like, wait, I want to say something. I'm like, Jim. Oh, Jim is so right. Oh, so the whole time I've been back here, like watching it live. And
I don't know where you were, but be sure to like get rid of whatever that link. It's to someone else's probably studio. So I'm glad that
I've been sitting there since 10 after. So I apologize.
Oh my goodness.
No.
I'm glad you made it.
I'm
glad I looked. And so I don't know if you heard. So Nicole, you are on Patriots Inside the Wire for everyone out there who is watching us live. Whether you're on a social media platform, we are live right now, a video broadcast on Patriots Inside the Wire. You have Jim McCollum right there on the screen. He is Riley McCollum's father, part of the Afghanistan 13. Since we're discussing that shouldn't happen to any of us. I am Tracy. My son is Sergeant Two-Step. Mrs. Nicole Remini, I was waiting. I was like, I'm not going to tell her story, but Jim and I were discussing something. Did you hear that Jim is going to Pittsburgh on Saturday?
I heard the whole thing. And, Jim, I didn't know you were going to be on. And, like Tracy said, I have 4 kids that are serving. But my son was actually with your unit, your son's unit or your kid's unit in Afghanistan and was actually just moved to the gate when the explosion happened. So you and I are connected more than you know, because this is something, we deal with daily with our son because it's something that is with him because he witnessed the whole thing.
Wow.
I went back in December to kind of hang out with him, and it like I said, it's something that he lives with every day, as of course all the families are as well. And when I got that phone call from him, it was kind of weird because he didn't have his phone. And I know we're just kind of jumping into this, but like I said, I didn't know Jim was going to be here. He didn't have his phone for whatever reason. But I was telling Tracy when we talked earlier in the week that it was kind of weird because the night before, I was just like overwhelmed with anxiety. And I don't know how you talk to God, but when I talk to God, I'm like, dude, seriously, like you cannot take this boy from me. Like, I could not survive it. And to wake up in the morning and then see that, banner and, you didn't know who it was right at the time.
Yeah.
And so I had gone to California Pizza Kitchen for lunch that day, and I got a call from a Minneapolis number. But you know how like spam numbers come through with names now, So I was like, who the heck is this? And I sent it to voicemail. It rang again. I sent it to voicemail, and I was like, oh my God, that has to be my boy. And I picked it up, and he's like, Mama, I just want to let you know I'm okay. And, so that is a day that, obviously will stick with us as a family forever. And he was one of the last planes out of there. So, I'm so sorry for your loss. But know that, all of the families are a big part of our story as well, because of, my son witnessed the whole thing. So, so we're very connected because it's something we talk about a lot. Yeah. He posts a lot about the Afghan 13 because again, it's, something he experienced firsthand. So my heart goes out to you. And of course, Tracy, for for both of your losses. But, like I said, you and I are connected, I guess, more ways than I would have expected. So when I was watching this while I was on the wrong link, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's like my heart, you know? So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you.
So
Well,
yes, Jim.
much love
Jim
and appreciation to
McCollum,
your son, for sure.
yeah. Well, Jim McCollum is the co-host of Patriots Inside the Wire, and that had come about. And so Nicole and I were talking in different categories, but I did put out for anyone that read about her son was on that last plane out of Afghanistan. And I did not call Jim about it because I knew that he was working on something. And but surprise, Nicole.
Yeah,
You're,
I had
you're,
no idea. So I
I
feel,
know that you're a strong woman. So I say thank you, number one, for
Absolutely.
everybody,
Mhm.
for active duty. I'm like, holy cow. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. And we're in Vegas right now because our daughter and her husband are they're at Creech Air Force Base, but today she actually, I'm just looking at it because we came to see her, but she earned the I don't know if anybody knows the John Levitow Award, which is an award given, it says, for demonstrating the highest degree of excellence as a leader and scholar. So she earned that in Nellis Airman Leadership School today. So
Wow.
everybody got awards, and then she got the biggest award of the class today. So that was pretty amazing. My husband was just bawling, you know, because this is our youngest in the Air Force. And so for her to get that award today was pretty magical for us to be there. But yeah, we have 2 serving in the Army, 2 in the Air Force. And I can't leave my 5th one out because I always feel bad because I always joke about her. She is the first one to bring a recruiter to the house, and she was like, yeah, no. And so that's kind of funny. So I always have to tell Brianna's story because I think that's funny. But she's done very well in life. We're super proud of her as well, and she's a huge supporter of her siblings. So I just have to make sure I don't leave her out. We thought she
hey,
was
I
gonna,
get it. We talk about
she
siblings
was
a
all
lot,
like,
Nicole.
she was like my all God all the time. So she was going to be a worship leader. And so that's kind of where, you know, we went with her. So anyway, I know that we have a lot to talk about. So Tracy, I'll let you lead the show because
Oh no, I like it when it's unscripted. So Nicole, I'm glad you're just able to come right in. You know, you have a history in itself, like through guaranteed on camera, number one. I always like to stay behind the scenes, but with everything that's going on in this digital era, we were discussing that, you know, I cannot go back into a setting that's going to put me in that corporate world. So, so this is a platform that I offer, not just for me, but when I find patriots like obviously Jim, but you, Nicole, I thought, boy, they're really going to be thinking, what the heck is going on here? Tracy's got they're all like the lady from King of Queens. I'm like, yes, but have you paid attention to anything else? Because there is more to this. And I always like my research. I always love to know our history or other obstacles and challenges around our environment. And so, Nicole, we're not scripted here. I really would like for you to let them know, why do I have the title Hollywood to Health, and the obstacles and challenges from you, Nicole. I mean, starting at a young age, we've had that discussion and we have a lot in common, but I didn't want to tell your story for you. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, so I know it's kind of a weird thing, right? When you go, how did you go from, you know, being on the production team of, you know, one of the biggest shows on CBS to really being an advocate for health? But, you know, going back to challenges, I mean, you know, if anybody knows our family story, you know, we've done a lot of reality shows as a family. We did, again, the King of Queens. I was on the King of Queens. I would walk on the set and they're like, you're on the show today. And I'm like, oh, like you, I like to be behind the scenes. I went into radio because I wanted to be in the box where nobody can see me. And then people would meet me at different events and they're like, okay, but usually like people do radio because like they don't have the face for television. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but I like to be behind the scenes. Let Leah be in front of the camera. Like, we're where we should be. And then I would walk on set and they'd be like, you're on the show today. And I'm like, okay. Like, I was very uncomfortable, but I liked doing the reality show because it wasn't scripted. It was really what you saw was our family. You know, we're not the Kardashians where, you know, it's more scripted. And a lot of these reality shows are scripted. And as soon as it started to get they wanted my sister to kind of create scenarios, she was like, we're done. And so, and I really like appreciated that, you know, about my sister. But with that, you know, we were in a cult. So that's another thing, right? So, you know, we were put in a cult as children.
What is the name of, I heard you just use a word.
And
yeah.
So we were in Scientology. And so now I can't watch The Real Housewives of New York because now I got a Scientologist on it. So there goes that. And I'm like, I'm all about the Housewives franchise. Now I can't watch The Real Housewives of New York. I'm not going to support, you know, somebody who supports what Scientology believes in. And that's the thing with me, you know, it's like even with politics. It was funny because Tracy said, are you okay that we're going to talk about voting? And I go, okay, I'm in Vegas and the one shirt I packed for tonight was my vote shirt. So I'm like, it was not planned. Literally, we could show you the text. Like she said to me, are you okay with talking about? I'm like, this is all I packed. So, you know, we didn't know if we were going to spend the night here. So I'm like, I think it's so important. And the thing that's really cool too is, you know, when you look at voting numbers right now, like early voting numbers are the highest they've ever been. So I am so glad that people are getting out to vote early. Mike and I voted already. It was like day one that we can do early voting in Arizona. We were there. So it was like, and I keep telling my kids, did you vote yet? Did you vote yet? I need you to post a picture, put on a sticker and you know, it's like, I need to show people that you're voting. And so our kids in Minnesota did already. But so yeah, so then we were put in a cult, right? And it's like, I had to really fend for myself in life. And so I really
at an early age, Nicole?
At a very early age, like 15, 16 is when we left. And I really didn't want anything to do with Scientology. Like I was the first one out. And because I am very big into my intuition, I trust it. I trust the nudges that God gives me. And my whole like life in Scientology, I'm like, something isn't right here. And we got in at a very, very early age. And so, but I just knew something was not right. So I really do trust my intuition. And I've always been right. I've always been right. Even my sister said on a radio show, she's like, my sister knew, you know, Nick said it. She knew. And so at a very early age, 16 years old, I had to kind of fend for myself. So living on my own, working multiple jobs, you know, just trying to make it out in the world with not necessarily being homeless, but kind of. I don't want to put that on my mom because I have a very good relationship with my mother, but we were like living with multiple people, you know, and so I feel like I have a very good grasp of humanity. I have a very good grasp of, can I trust this person? I'm really in tune with that. And so even my ex-father-in-law was the Republican minority leader for the state of Minnesota. So very dialed in there. And it was a really good education for me because he was always around all different types of people, Democrats, Republicans, you know, whatever. And so again, I really got to know people and get to have my own opinion and form my own opinion. And what made sense for me was going towards the Republican Party. And it wasn't because of my father-in-law, because I was listening to people, right? And I was kind of like going, that doesn't make sense. And so I really grew in my where I am politically, but then I got into political radio in Minnesota. I just kind of fell into it because the radio host was a fan of my family's and a fan of my sister's. And again, huge education. And so, you know, like Jim was saying, it's like, you've got to do your research. Research is key. I can't tell you how many friends we lost during Trump when he first ran, because, you know, people were like, I mean, the things that they would say to us, they were like, you're so stupid. You know, I can't believe like if someone as educated as you, like you're so dumb that you would vote for him. And then towards the end of the cycle, they were like, we did our own research. We were just believing everything we were seeing on mainstream media and CNN. And then we went to whitehouse.gov and saw actually everything that Trump did.
Yep.
Right.
And now they're like diehard Republicans because they did their research. You know, I've been to a Trump event. You know, you guys have been to Trump events. You know the type of people that are there. It was so funny. I make fun of my husband all the time because when Trump came out, we were at a Charlie Kirk event, huge event in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
We had VIP tickets, so we were really close. My husband literally like was jumping out of his seat like a child, like waving at Trump. I was like laughing so hard. But you know, it's like I'm watching right now, Tucker Carlson has a like kind of a behind the scenes of like Trump running. And you guys, like you see people and how they just love him. And I just start crying. It's like I can't help it. It's like you literally, you know, the love that people have for this man and the love that he has for you. And it's like the way he makes eye contact with people. And it's like, I always say this, you're not asking him to be part of your wedding. So who cares how he talks? I'm from New York. The way he talks doesn't offend me. Do I say sometimes like, dude, like stop making fun of people? Yes, of course, just because I'm a human being. But I know that we as a family were safer. We were better off financially. It's like, it's funny, like we're very comfortable. You know, I work very hard and we'll talk about what I do in a second. But the reality is like, I do go to the store. I left there yesterday with 3 bags. I bought like a couple of bags of nuts. I got some sushi. Our supermarket does a really good job with sushi. I got flowers and soup. What else did I buy? I bought one more thing and it was like $65. And I'm like, what did I leave here with? I mean, I was like checking the receipts because I was just like, how is this $65? So it's like, if somebody like literally, I'm like, oh, I want that. I get it. I don't really think about it. But now I'm like, what the heck did I buy? That was $65, you know? So it's like, for me, who just grabs whatever she wants, whenever she wants it, doesn't really pay attention. I heard Don Jr. talking to Tucker the other day. He said he took his kids to McDonald's or Burger King. And he was like, if I'm noticing the receipt, he's like, something's wrong. And that made me laugh so hard because it's so true, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy. But, you know, talking about, you know, hardships, about 7 years ago, we lost our sister to lung and brain cancer at 34 years old. You know, and you kind of go, how does a 34-year-old die of lung cancer? And that kind of put me again in research mode. And it ended up, you know, really guiding me to ingredients and products and, you know, just what's going on in this world. I mean, I love that, you know, RFK Jr. is now he's so out there with Make America Healthy Again. And it's like, dude, I've been talking about this for 7 years, right? It's like trying to educate people in just even environmental toxins that you're bringing into your home every day. And this does really relate to politics because when you look at how big pharma is so in the pocket of medical schools, you know, in these companies that are owned by BlackRock, you know, you look at like the Johnson & Johnson and the Procters & Gambles, like there is really an agenda here. And if you think there is not an agenda here, like I am sorry to say, like you are gravely mistaken because, you know, you look at Bill Gates, I mean, he says it all the time. We got to like kind of cut back on our, you know, the amount of people on this planet. And it's like, you look at the Appeal brand and you look at the things that are being, you know, even injected in our foods. Since 1938, there's been no regulations in this country that forbids manufacturers from putting toxic ingredients in our products. And it's like, one of the ways they're able to do it is by hiding it under the word fragrance. And nobody thinks about that. So we partnered with an American company. I don't know if I sent Tracy the picture, but Speaker of the House was at the company recently, which I thought was amazing with the owner of our company. I have pictures of Don Jr. leaving the company as well, because he is a huge Republican donor, the owner of this company. one of the largest corporate Republican donors. But I feel like, with everything going on in the world, I think like with COVID, and here now California is going back to mask mandates. They're so insane over there. But if COVID taught us anything, we need to buy American made. We need to support American companies. So I partnered with a company that's been around for 39 years, didn't run out of anything during COVID. We had our hand sanitizer, we had our disinfectant, we had all the products that people needed, but there's no ingredients in these products that are poisoning your children, and there's no products that are poisoning you. I was watching, I'm such a big, Tucker is so intelligent, so I love watching Tucker, and he has everybody from every political background on, he's not so I love that about him, and he's very open, like you said, Tracy, to hear from every side, right? And he had this brother and sister on the other day, and just one statistic, 50% of the children in America have chronic health issues. 50%. And 50 years ago, it was less than 1%.
Yep.
So when you're looking at, let's forget about the food. There are people going after Kellogg's today, which is amazing because of all the toxic ingredients in their products. But when you think about body products, beauty products, it's crazy how those forever chemicals will forever stay with you. I mean, they're called a forever chemical for a reason. I mean, Band-Aids have forever chemicals in them, and they're soaking into the bloodstream. So after losing my sister, again, I went into crazy research mode because that is who I am. But also, I got really, really sick when I turned 50. I think I'm 56 now. So 6 years ago, we went to the Dominican Republic. I got insanely sick day one. When I tell you I thought I was going to literally die, I told my husband, you need to go get my mom, because she came out with us because it was my 50th birthday. I said, you got to go get my mom. If I die in my sleep, I want my mom with me. That is how sick I was, you guys. Only to find out that they ended up saying that I had Lyme disease, but that hotel had people dying. And people were dying all over the Dominican Republic with this particular chain of hotels because they were using outdoor pesticides inside the hotel rooms.
My goodness. Wow.
So, I mean, it's crazy. And then you look at Windex. Well, Windex has pesticides in it. So again, you're spraying it in your house, right? So I had to go into crazy research mode because no doctor was willing to really help me. So when we really boiled it down, long story short, the environmental chemicals that you're bringing into your home every single day. I'm sorry to say, Mrs. Myers, but you're very high up there for lung damage, right? And people think products out there are healthy, but they don't realize one organic ingredient is all you need in a product out here in America, and they can slap an organic label on the product, one organic ingredient. And so I don't trust anything that's on the retail shelves because, again, I know who owns all these companies. I actually worked for the company that made Method, Mrs. Myers, Fabuloso, Soft Soap, Lip Smackers. I know what goes into the manufacturing process. But again, the thing that I like about the company that I decided to work with is, again, it's American made. They support Patriots. He is a patriot. He supports military. He supports first responders. They have been first on the ground in all of these scenarios with, hurricanes and tornadoes. They're bringing in generators. He's also a rancher. And so he has beef that has no pesticides, no hormones in it, none of those icky ingredients. And they do everything from birth to box. So there's no middleman. So he's controlling the cattle. So he doesn't worry about what they're putting in it before it's on our plate. I mean, if you would see the marbling in this meat, and I'm not really a meat eater. I just started eating meat because when they diagnosed me with Lyme, they were like, no pork, no beef, get it out of your diet. The amount of bacteria and chemicals that are in that is insane. My own doctor told me, don't get the COVID shot because we don't know what Lyme disease and the COVID shot is going to do to your body. We just don't know. And so with so many people, they have no idea. They have autoimmune issues and they're like, but we can't fix it. So we're just going to medicate. And I'm like, okay, let's get the toxins off of your body and out of your house. Let's work on some root cause here, right? You have kids with ADD, autism. There is more infertility in this country in the last 40 years than there has ever been. And what are they saying? Phthalates, formaldehyde, parabens, you know, the crazy dyes, the fragrances. So our company, it follows the European standard because they have about 1,100 ingredients they do not allow in products, where America has 11 ingredients that they don't allow in products. So I'm all about supporting an American company. The products do not come from overseas. They make everything from the ingredient to the box that shows up at your door. But because there is no middleman, they're still at that Target, Walmart price point. So he's like, how can we help people save money at the same time and getting these products into these households so we can help make people feel better again, right? Let's like the asthma, oh my gosh, kids and illness and inflammation, and it's crazy, but you guys, it's all related to the things we're putting on our bodies and we're spraying in our house, and it's intentional. It keeps us sick. It keeps the pharmaceutical industry growing. You know, it's like when you look at, I wrote this down too, it's, what was it? 40% of teens have mental illness. And it's like, if we could even just detox their bodies and detox their homes, it's like, it's crazy. And I'm not talking about let's pull out your carpets. We got to just change your laundry detergent. It's like, you don't understand. Everything that touches your skin soaks into the bloodstream within 26 seconds. You're sleeping on your Tide, you're sleeping on your Snuggle. It's all in the bloodstream within 26 seconds of contact. And it's like, when you look at the pharmaceutical industry, I wrote this down, medical schools, 50% are funded by Big Pharma. 50% of the money that goes into medical schools. And this one guy was like, why is there no nutrition classes in medical schools? Yep. You know, so it's like, you have like you have doctors walking away from this industry because they're like, someone's sick, give them a pill. Someone's sick, give them a pill. It's like, no, let's get to the root cause. Yes. You don't understand how much even your gut affects what's going on with your brain, with brain fog, with headaches, with migraines, with mental illness, with ADD, with ADHD. When people tell me their kids have ADD and ADHD, I'm like, we got to work on their gut health. We got to get them some omega-3s. We got to get your cleaning products out of your house, and we got to get you some really good clean body products. You know, it's like when their babies are in the womb, they're already born with hundreds of toxic ingredients in their body just from mom. You know, listen, I'm guilty of it. I didn't know. And then we're like, oh, Johnson & Johnson smells so good. Let me put it on my baby, right? And it's like, again, you guys, this is all so intentional. And I hate to be like, you know, I hate to be like the, you know, tinfoil hat person, but it's out there. It's like, just Google the dangers of Tide, the you know, dangerous ingredients in Tide. I mean, it's all, I always say it's Googleable. I made up the word. It's like, you can Google it. It's there for you to see. You can find it. You just have to be open-minded. Like Jim said earlier about politics and politicians, you just have to be open-minded. So I decided that this is like going to be like my cause. And this is all I have been doing for 7 years. Besides telling people, vote for Trump, right? It's like, I am like crazy, like, you know, Trump girl, not sad about it, not embarrassed about it. Some people will like write me and go like, oh, I didn't know like Leah's sister is a Republican. And it's like, okay, but like 90% of my other content is like, I would say 98% of my content is like positivity, making you feel good, because I'm really about bringing joy to people's lives. So it's like, if I'm just educating you on the other side, like, you know, you can't vote for Kamala because she's a woman. Listen, great, have a woman president, but she needs to be qualified for the job.
Yes.
We have 2 wars going on right now, right? I don't want my kid being shipped overseas again. I just don't want it for a war they created, you know. And it's like, they talk about the border bill. It makes me insane. Trump shut down the border bill. Trump's not in office anymore, just in case somebody doesn't know that. And the other thing is when you look at all the money going to Ukraine, going to Israel, listen, I'm half a Jew. I'm an Italian Jew. I'm all about Israel. But right now, our country, people need to be able to afford their food. They need to be able to afford daycare so that they can be working, right? It's like they need to be able to afford basic living right now. You know, I hate to say it. I just don't want anything else. Money's going out of this country at this time. We're not in a position to do it. And if anybody is like, oh, Trump shut down the border bill, go look at the border bill.
No kidding.
Go look at it.
Yep.
It's like, look at where all the money went. And then it was like this minuscule amount, right? And it's like, where did our FEMA money go? I've done a lot of disaster relief. I have been on the ground I have dug people out bloody from tornadoes that have hit. Like, I've seen it firsthand. And you know who's feeding people every single time? The church.
Yep.
80% is the church and people in those communities.
Yep.
It is very, very little government. And do you know, I've been on the ground. I've seen it. We have been feeding people where we go with these guys. They're called Holy Smokes. We go with their pastors. They go out and they feed like chicken and burgers and steaks. Like, these guys are no joke. And it's like, and we raised like $10,000, like, to bring to, I forgot did so many tornadoes in like month to month, back to back. And it's like, when you're feeding people and the Red Cross is kicking you off corners because they're like, you're like kind of, you know, taking our customers. And it's like, yeah, because you get paid for the people that you're feeding, right? Yep. We took donations to feed these people. And they were literally kicking us off corners. So it's like, and then do you know how many people have been writing me? I can show you text after text, DM after DM of the people that applied for that $750 and were denied.
Yes.
Denied it. So it's like, I just don't want to hear them talking about disasters anymore and disaster relief. You get out there and you take care of these people. You take care of the American people, you know, and for Trump to be working, you know, with Elon Musk to get, you know, Starlink in there, that's amazing. Our company, again, we brought first aid because we do, my husband is like 2 floors down and he said it was Joplin where we raised the 10 grand to give to Holy Smokes while we were out there. And so we, you know, again, we've seen firsthand, but again, our company as well, they donated $500,000, you know, to the relief efforts. They brought cases and cases and cases and cases of steak and hot dogs. We do hot dogs too, which I was so happy to have like a chemical-free hot dog after 30 years. I was like doing a little dance. My husband was laughing at me, but we brought first aid products because we carry those. We brought them. And again, there's no chemicals in them. So we're not saying like, hey, we're going to help you and poison you at the same time. Right. So it's like, I just love that we partnered with this company because again, it aligns with who we are as a family. It aligns with our belief systems. And again, it's, I mean, talk about making America healthy again. Like that is all this company cares about. And so this company, I mean, I will tell you, we have made it an incredible business for us at the same time. But my whole thing is, who can I help? How can I help them? I want to help get these products in everybody's hands. Not because I want to make a sale, but because I want to make your house healthier. I want you to stop poisoning your children. I know you don't know you're poisoning your children. You would never think, let me go to the store and buy a cleaning product. You know, it's like you look at Lysol and Clorox, they say don't spray on food surfaces. How many of us has like wiped our kids' high chairs down with Clorox or Lysol on their cribs, right? You're like, oh, that smells good. Literally poisoning our children. It's like we have got to make better choices in this country. And I get so mad when patriots aren't on board with this because I'm like, how are you not supporting an American-made company? Because when you're going to Target, Walmart, Amazon, you are supporting China. You are supporting companies that do not have your best interests at heart because they know they're poisoning you and your family. And again, I know it sounds like tinfoil hat, but you guys, it's so real. It's insane. It's like, just look at the numbers and it's like, oh my God, it drives me crazy. I can't, it's like you look at inflammation in the body. cleaning products and body products. You're washing your hair with formaldehyde. You're washing your hair with like things that literally are connected to cancer and breast cancer. And it's like prostate cancer, big thing now. Phthalates, that thing that will hold fragrance together, is directly linked to prostate cancer. Baby boys are being born with birth defects on their boy parts, and they're calling it phthalate syndrome. And it's like, it's in basically every body product and cleaning product that people use every day. They know what it is, and they label it the name of the toxic ingredient. I can go on and on about this forever, so cut me off. Tell me when to
No,
stop.
I'm enjoying. You're
I'm
good.
loving it. I'm hoping my daughter Royce is listening because she's 25, but everything you say is what she believes and what she preaches.
Yeah.
She gets ridiculed every day and hate mail, but she is adamant about it. And just like you, she does her research. She's figured it out.
Yeah.
Vaccines have been horrible, since the 50s.
Yes.
All birth defects, all learning disabilities. And Royce is huge into this. And then the health side of it and the gut health. The gut health is one of her biggest and she'll try to help me. I don't go to the doctor, period, for reasons as you. No, I'm not. You're not going to say I have this and give me a pill. I don't do pills.
Yeah,
And
I don't want it.
she's my little researcher that will tell me, hey, try this, this, and this. And I'll tell you what, I'm only a year older than you, but I feel better than I did 20 years ago. Yeah. And it's all because my daughter is, hey, quit eating this, quit using this.
Yes.
Products, nope. I don't know where she buys her stuff, but it's all organic stuff.
I know I'm gonna have to talk to her. I'm gonna have to find out. Because too, people will go, well, seventh generation is great. I'm like, Google the lawsuits. Like, again, this company, 39 years, not one lawsuit. The government hasn't sued them, and neither has a family. They've never poisoned a child, pet, or adult in 39 years. So, it's plant-based, it's biodegradable. I mean, they think it through, so that's my journey, is like just education, whether it's like, listen, I mean, going back to kids, we cannot let Kamala Harris be in office. If anything, it's to protect the future of our children. Absolutely. You do not want to be in a situation where your kid says, I think I'm a girl. And you're like, I don't think you're a girl. And now the school has the rights to take your child away from you. Yep. It's like, you've got to be smarter and think outside of, oh my gosh, this abortion issue. It's like, you guys, there's so much more going on in the world. And when people are like, my body, my choice. Well, a lot of you didn't get that choice during COVID, did you? Yep. You lost your jobs, right? You had to do it, or you would lose your job. I have a friend that I know, she was with Johnson & Johnson, and they originally said, don't get the shot, even though we're putting it out. And then it turned into, well, if you don't get it, you're fired. So it's like, so where is like my body, my choice? Yep. Right? It's like,
it's supposed to be exactly that, your body and your choice. And so, Nicole, I want to make sure everybody understands, you can find her literally, Nicole Remini, if you're on, like right now, we're on Instagram, specifically because it's Nicole. I took a look and I was like, okay, there's a lot of people that are educated through Nicole and on her Instagram. So I want to make sure they know exactly where to find you. We've got some questions there, but I am putting out your email. So for the questions coming in, I will have her email and everything down here.
Okay, good.
Nicole, we met because of, I don't do my own story. Maybe one day Jim or you, Nicole, will also switch roles. And then you can ask me. But the one thing that gets me is that I was extremely sick and no one could figure out why. I mean, it was like going in circles, and it makes you just, it hits you everywhere. It's not just physically, it was literally messing
mentally. It creates depression, right? Anxiety. Yeah. So many people are sick, and like you and me, it took, I gotta say, we spent about $48,000, if not $52,000 in cash, trying to figure out what was wrong with me when we came back from the Dominican. They're like, nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. Maybe it's mental. I'm like, can't drive. I call my husband in the neighborhood. I'm like, you have to look at my location. I don't even know where I am right now. And he's like, you're 2 blocks away. Like, something's wrong with me. This is not normal.
I remember feeling that literally, like I should not have been driving a car that day.
Yes.
I was like, something is wrong with me. Like, listen to me, please. So one of the last times I got to see my son was a second time because I said, something's wrong. I knew it. I knew something was wrong. Not only was I going to lose a child, I knew that, but I also knew that my fourth child that was born, like he had more issues than my other ones. And I'm like, wait a minute, this has never been an issue.
Right.
But then I started getting really sick and it was like a vicious circle.
Right.
And then people don't understand around you. So it's like, you know, it's a rough thing to go through. It turns out, you know, I'm at my wit's end, and my gynecologist, you know, I'm in University of Texas. I'll say that. I'm over with the skin disease specialist because they believe that the spiders in Iraq that my son shipped back in his crates, I literally had been bitten, and there's crazy spiders in Iraq. So it made me sicker. And so what happened is the doctor said, there's this doctor who specializes, there's a show out there, I'm not going to say the name, and said, why don't you go to him? And the guy walked out, and my gynecologist, OBGYN, all at University of Texas, are all in one building. And he bumped into me and he said, what are you doing, Tracy? And I said, I don't feel good. Something's really wrong. And he looked at me and he looked at the other dermatologist and he said, her throat is too swollen. He just looked right at me and said, I know it. Her throat's too swollen. Something's not right. Go get a different scan of her. And I'm one of those people that it's odd. Like, things just weren't showing up super clear. Yeah. There was something there. And they align us all in this category. Oh, well, my blood range is this. No, we're all different, number one.
Oh, my gosh. No. Oh, blood.
It was cancer. And it got metastatic because no one would listen to me for so long. I was like, something's really wrong.
Yeah.
So I can go back now and find my original scan where I was yelling and going, do I need to figure out how to go have surgery? So we're like, you've got to figure this out. So it was just awful. But I am happy that my son did get to come back. You know, he was at the surgery. I did not do, and one day we'll talk more about this, I did not do radiation. That's my own personal journey. So for some people, whatever works for you may not work for others, but I had to do both. So I had to do medical, and I also needed to do some natural things in order for my body to even listen. Before I even let them put me in the hospital, I was like, I have to stop off and talk to someone that understands my body's just different. Like the natural side of how it works. I needed help. Before I went to an actual hospital, I stopped and said, you know, my naturopath, I said, this is what's going on. I do not want to go in this hospital and have this surgery for this. And he said, wait a minute, you need to do this. There's a lot of different things I needed to do. So exactly what you're talking about, Nicole, is that, yes, it was cancer. And then it was metastatic. And then so the good news is I got to see my boy, and they cleared me out. And I finally yelled enough that my OBGYN, who had delivered, you know, my youngest, just looked at me and went, something's wrong. He visually looked at me and said, you got to listen to her. I don't care what you do. Go recheck it.
Yeah, you have to be your own advocate. And that's why, I mean, that's why I'm just like, listen, I'm just talking about a simple thing, right? Stop buying the garbage at these big box stores that are poisoning you and ruining, like just creating chaos, complete chaos in your body. It's like you can start there. It's simple. Like, and that's why, again, I love doing what I do. But again, I was very specific in that I noticed that my Lyme disease, my inflammation, my headaches, my migraine, my weight got back to normal. The brain fog started going away as we just started detoxing the house. And I always tell people, all I'm doing is talking to you about laundry detergent and changing your disinfectants, right? It's like, and your body products. Stop going to Bath and Body Works. You look at their influencer sheet and it actually says, like, all of our products have carcinogens in them. All of them. Not one, not two, all of our products have carcinogens in them, which are cancer-causing ingredients. And that's what you're throwing in your stockings for your kids on, you know, for Christmas. Right?
It's like, I'm 100%. So that's how I met Nicole, was just paying attention to, well, number one, when Cash is my fourth. And I was like, eczema, allergies.
Yes. Oh my God.
Wait a minute. You want to give him how many vaccines? Well, Adam, Sergeant Two-Step will say that. I think he got like 10 vaccines, maybe. I mean, the amount they wanted to give my fourth child, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was like 50 shots. I'm like,
It's
what
crazy.
You're
It's so
kidding.
crazy.
It's
It's like you're being poisoned left, right, center. You know, and
so it's interesting, Nicole. Every time you're talking about a product and you say hair, you say face, I'm going, uh-oh. I'm telling you, this is warrior paint. This is so I don't cry.
Right,
and Jim
right.
knows that.
Well,
I'm safe.
There you go. Well, we're gonna get you new warrior paint so you don't poison yourself anymore, right? So
well,
that's
I'm
really the
looking
thing.
and going, because I like my headache right now, and I'm like, I just don't get headaches. I don't get normal, what I call normal people. Like I go from one extreme to the other. My body, I have to be safe. So Nicole, I heard you mention something. Your doctor told you with your body, he did not trust giving you that shot. The same thing happened to me. And I have had people look at me and go, there is no way a doctor told you. Don't do it. You need to do it because of your immune system. And I said, no, the reason I shouldn't is because of my immune system.
You are 100% right. Yeah. And that's why my doctor said it too. He was like, with your immune system, I just don't know what this is going to do.
Russian roulette. It's like Russian roulette to me. I'm like, so I was just, we have someone, they're like, I joined late. Can y'all please tell me the name of the company? So I'm making sure that we have Nicole's information right here. She's easy to find on Instagram. I also have her email, and I have been researching it as well in regards to the company. So yes, I am now on board with that, with Nicole. Now, I don't know as much as she does. I'm kind of leaning on her to go, let's figure out how to make me healthier, because also Gold Star families, you know, I have a lot of phone calls with other families, and the number one thing that comes to me is my heart. I've had a heart doctor. They've all got heart doctors. It's like our hearts, you know, I remember going to the emergency room. They were like, you're having a heart attack. And I'm shaking. I couldn't talk. This is the thing. They cut my vocal cords. So before he was killed, I got everything in writing to Sergeant Two-Step going, you have to come home. Like, I'm sorry. He's like, Mom, I survived Iraq. I'm going to survive another. And my kid's a fighter. So I'm like, you don't understand, child. You're coming home. He's like, but it's Christmas and the money. I said, I don't care. I will figure this out, child. You're coming home. So he did. And I just remember getting to lay there with him and watch Roadhouse. I mean, there's just certain things now that I'm like so thankful that I had with him. And then literally it wasn't even 4 weeks later that he left after taking care of like feeding his little brother and taking care of things because I was so sick. And boom, 4 weeks later, I get someone knocking at my door.
Yeah, gosh.
I didn't have a voice, y'all, up until then. I was so upset and so bothered by all this. I ended up getting out a voice. And they were like, well, we don't know what the heck you did, but and so
it's amazing. Voice. I mean, talk about a God thing, right? Getting your voice, right? So you can speak about this. P.S. We have heart health products. So I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, I love again that you're being your own advocate, and that's really, you know, what it's all about. So yeah, so when Tracy put on there, you know, Hollywood to Health, you know, it's, you know, with my sister dying of lung and brain cancer at 34 and didn't smoke, you know, there's a lung damage study out there that says cleaning with household products as little as once a week is as damaging to your lungs and children's lungs as smoking 20 cigarettes per day for 20 years, once a week. So it's, you know, so it's crazy. And now just to, when people go to my Instagram, and I think Tracy said she put it onto there. So I had about 32,000 followers. And when Trump was running for president, I was doing some Women for Trump talks to other female entrepreneurs. And I woke up one day and all of my Instagram was gone. So if you're like, she only has like 10,000 followers, I had to start over because Instagram would not give me my account back. So the Instagram that I'm using is like my old, like I used to talk about food a lot and what's in food. So I'm like rebuilding my Instagram after all of my Women for Trump talks. Yeah, woke up and I was like, can someone see? Like I can't find my Instagram. So so I'm rebuilding. So thanks for the follow.
Good. No, we are too. Literally, the station and all. Like, we had to move away from working with people too that did not align. So
Yeah.
we had to leave that all behind us. So literally, the same thing you're saying right now. It's like mine is like 1,000 on Instagram. So,
Yeah. So I was
I'm
like,
like, you
people are
can
like,
choose to believe the truth and find the Patriots, but don't go by a number that's
yeah,
there.
no,
Instead
you
of
can't go by
right
a number,
information.
because I had a lot more y'all out there until I woke up and I didn't. So, yeah,
Well, I
so
know
quite
why, because you
crazy.
mentioned a certain name and you're
And
speaking.
And it was a time where a lot of patriots were just like waking up to no social media. So, so I had a friend reach out to me. You guys would know who they are, and they said that they too, like a lot of their friends, had lost their Instagram accounts that week. But I think, I loved it because, Women for Trump reached out to me and they just asked me, like, will you speak to other women, entrepreneurs? Most people don't realize how much Trump did for women when he was in office, like the Black community, women, like the LGBTQ community, like anyway, that's a whole nother talk, because I, would actually go and speak to female entrepreneurs about all of this so that they really knew what Trump had done in his administration. And so, for women to be like, oh, I don't like the way he talks. Who cares? He's not coming to clean your house or watch your child. He's there to protect your children and make your life better. And that's just the bottom line. So
it's the truth. You can't hide the truth. I always say that. So
yeah,
I think we are all fellow patriots on here. And then, no, I should not have had cancer like I did. It shouldn't have been metastatic. I should not have gotten that jab. I'm glad I didn't. Again, we have security literally behind our digital era of what we're doing for certain reasons. And it means, also you can just look right at Jim, and I seriously doubt you're going to come mess with us. But like, we've surrounded ourselves with some really good patriots and really good people about taking care of each other. And now it's about people taking care of each other. And so I always say, be kind. You don't understand someone's story. So I don't want to be the person that says something, that one thing that might push someone over that edge.
Right.
So
yeah. You're absolutely right. And I'm the same way. I always say, it's like, I don't care what people's sexuality is. I don't care who you are, what the color of your skin is. I've always had a love of people. I am an acts of service girl. I don't go to tornado, people who have been ripped apart by tornadoes and go, don't think I'm going to help you. I love people, right? God, it's like, we're all God's children. And so I don't care. I love everybody. I have so many gay friends. I have Black friends, Puerto Rican friends, Mexican friends. I don't care. If you're a good human, that's all I care about. Do you love people?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. And when people are like, well, you don't get what the Black community's been through. I grew up in Brooklyn. I know what people have been through, right? And I am, according to 23andMe, I am 3% Black. So I always say, don't tell me what I know and what I don't know. But
we're very similar.
Yeah, it's like look, I've been around a lot of people. I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn. I don't want to sound like Kamala now, but that is the reality. It's like, my friends lived in the projects. It's like, I had people who had money. I had friends that lived in the projects. I
couldn't even get in the projects because, you had to have the application process. But I raised myself from birth on. So we were literally homeless. So I know what you're talking about.
I don't care.
That helped me.
I have eaten with homeless people underneath bridges in the freezing cold in Minnesota. It's like, I don't care. Are you a good human? I don't care. When I look at homeless people, I'm like, you are somebody's child. You're somebody's brother. You're somebody's sister. You're somebody's daughter. You're somebody's parents, right? So I don't care. Drives me nuts. Drives me crazy.
A lot of veterans. So not being able to even get in housing, I wasn't able to because I didn't fit the criteria. So a lot of the community I was with, they're from people. People who said, I'm going to sneak you in and you can stay here until my mom or someone finds out.
Yeah.
I was in the minority.
Yeah.
So people that have stepped up for me are not like they're going to look at me and go, this has happened to me. I just went home a couple of times recently. They're like, wait, are you that girl that was, I'm like, yeah, it's me. I don't really hide things. I'm a truth teller, but
yes. I mean, listen, my friends in Brooklyn would use ketchup for tomato sauce because they couldn't afford it, so it's like, I've seen it all. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
I've experienced a lot of hardships that we didn't go into today. So there's a lot of things that I could relate to with just, I mean, look, we're just everyday people, right? Mike and I, my husband's a veteran. He was a firefighter in Minnesota, but he's owned his own business. He went through the crash of, 2008, because he was a home builder, right? So it's like, we've been through a lot, so it's like, it's not like our life has been, like we just skipped around and it was roses. Like, our birth father died of cancer. My grandfather died of cancer. My favorite aunt died of cancer. We lost our sister. Again, what happened in 2008, me being in a cult, they snuck me out in the middle of the night to get me out. It's like, we've been through it all. But, all in all, it's like, you said this in the very beginning. It's like, we're fighters, we push through, but it's like, there is no hate in my heart for anything or anyone, where we are today, just with our lives. I mean, we got ourselves here. It's like, today, my husband just hugged me, and, with our daughter getting this award, it's like, and this guy came up, I think he was a colonel, came up to us and he's like, you have no idea like how huge her getting this award is. And I'm like, so my husband hugged me when we got to her house today, and he goes, Mama, I think we did pretty good. And I'm like, I think we did. It's like, we have loving kids who love people and love to serve. We did good. And so
you did. I mean, the percentage of those that serve is very, very small.
It's like 1%. It's like, it's a
less
very
than that right now. It's sad, but I'm a very honest person. Jim, you know this. Right now, Nicole, like, to you, I'm saying thank you to your family and your husband in his service, but I'm not letting my other child join.
Yeah, I understand.
I just can't.
Brando, my son, he re-enlisted when he was in Afghanistan.
Well,
and I said, I am going to freaking kick your ass when you get home.
Yeah.
Like, after what we just experienced, why would you do that?
Yeah, that sounds like my kid.
But it's like, that's where his heart is, and it's like, what can you do?
And so people are different. So my oldest, he was built for that. And Jim, we've talked about this, the wrestling, the UFC. I'm really into UFC. So
I used to be really
never see me at a boxing or UFC. I'm the one like moving on screen. They're all like, what is she doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm into it. So I'm really into that. And then that was Sergeant Justip. Like, he was the Now what I'm saying is, you talked about your daughter. Well, I have multiple children that I love, all of them. When we have one that's gone, yes, it changes and it makes it's like you're missing a body part. I don't know how to explain this, but I don't want anyone to ever understand it. I don't want anyone to ever have to feel it.
Right.
But for my other kids, I'm like, I have to be conscious and say, the reason is my youngest, he's like into music. He's very wise. He's an old soul. And I always say, God must have known that there is no way that I could handle anything else but this. So he just isn't built for it. Now, could he? Of course he could, but this mom is going to do everything in her power. But I don't think I'm going to have to do anything because, people know when they're built for something or they're not. So he's highly intelligent. I mean, I'm grateful because all of my kids are, but I just feel like we've kind of done that and given a whole lot throughout generations. And so
what you two have sacrificed, I mean, honestly, it's like nobody can ask more from the two of you. And it's like, like, my heart breaks because, like, I just can't even imagine, like I said in the beginning, like, I had to have a, come to Jesus with, God, like, hey, dude, like, I can't, so I thank both of you. And it's like just this love that I have for the two of you of what you've experienced. I have a daughter leaving for Africa in 2 weeks for a year. She's being deployed, so I'm like, here we go again, another deployment, and she was in Afghanistan years ago. And she'd be we'd be like FaceTiming with her, and people would be like, she would hear like incoming, like a recording, like over the loudspeaker. And I'm like, how are you on the phone with us? She's like, oh, it's all the time. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
What? So anyway, so like I said, you two are like, you're fully on my heart. And like I said, Jim, us being more connected than we ever could have imagined. I could talk to you about some things that, he's gone through since then. I mean, for somebody to actually physically see it, he was like, Mom, I was literally with them.
There.
So
Yeah.
he was like, I was actually with that unit. And then I was just literally told to go to the gate, and I turned around and went to walk away, and then that happened. And it's like, so I can't even imagine what you've gone through, but it's like, I'm still dealing with the ramifications of the witnessing of it,
Yes.
as a mama. So, I mean, it makes me want to cry. I can't imagine what you guys have both been through. So,
I don't know if you caught what I said earlier before you were coming on. I was so excited for this show because of the number that you have enlisted, and just the military family is just different.
yeah.
And as soon as I learned anything about your story and so on and so forth, it's like I just felt this need. I had to embrace your whole family.
I appreciate it.
There was something to that because I didn't know that about on being there.
Yeah.
We are more closely joined than I have ever imagined. That's a beautiful thing. One other thing, you had mentioned something about us being just good people in our hearts.
Yeah.
That is something that when you go to a Trump rally, you meet people exactly like us.
Yeah.
Exactly like us.
It's so true.
There's no discontent. It is absolutely love of people and love of each other and supporting the guy that we think can take care of our country the best.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing.
I mean, and it is. It's like if you have not seen Trump in person, it's like you don't necessarily get it, but the love that is in that room and the kindness is just, it's overwhelming. Like I said, I'm watching this Tucker behind the scenes, with Trump, and I'm literally crying, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? But it's like you really understand the love of people coming together, and there's no hate, there's no ugly, nobody cares what, again, skin color, who you love. It's like nobody cares. It's like we all have the same intention. We all want the same thing. And it really is like, she's talking joy, but they're like the nastiest people. And then it's like, but in that room is actual joy.
Absolutely. Every time I've been there, every time. The most beautiful
so
people.
Crazy.
Yep. And him, you shake his hand and you look him in the eye and he speaks to you.
Yeah.
You feel the compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And in our circumstance, the 13 families, he's absorbed some of that pain for us, and it has been such a comfort.
I love that.
We can't find comfort. You shake his hand, you look in his eye, you spend a minute with him, and you just feel his embrace, whether he's hugged you or not. You just he's wrapped his arms around you, and it's hard to explain. It's a beautiful thing, and so I get a little testy when people bad mouthing. It's like you don't know him. He has never done anything to you personally.
Right.
He's never hurt you in any way, shape, or form. You have no right to say what you're saying.
Gosh, I know.
And he's been that link that I needed to
I love that.
hold a little bit. So
I love that. I love hearing that. I have a friend, Mary. I don't know if you guys know Marian Mendoza. She lost a son, and Trump has had her speak a lot. He was actually killed by an illegal going the wrong way on the freeway, and her kid was a cop, but he wasn't on duty. but it just so happened he was a cop and killed by an illegal. And she has said the same exact thing to me about meeting Trump, because she's spoken quite a few times for him, and he's had her speak. And I just think, again, she said the same exact thing that you're saying. So I just appreciate you saying that, because there is such truth in, just being in his space. Again, like me growing up, it's like the Trumps were like the Kennedys. Like, it's like everybody knew, Donald Trump and the Trumps. They own half of Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn, right? So it's like, again, a household name. So I, again, like, as a woman, sometimes you're like, oh, Jesus, when he says things. But at the same time, I'm like, again, I am not asking him to, again, like sit with us, with my grandmother at Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not asking him to be in my wedding. I'm just asking him to continue to protect us, and this country. So anyway, that's really all I had. I don't know if you guys had any other questions for me, but I love
do.
What?
Yeah, I do. I know people are looking at me and wondering, why is she putting things in her mouth? What is she doing? So I don't have saliva glands any longer after the surgery.
That.
So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that for saliva, I literally have to eat either pistachios or all sorts of stuff. And the only reason I've got stuff on is so I can move my mouth, literally.
Yes.
So I physically have to do this because, trust me, the keyboard warriors just love to have a field day. And it's like, even as a female, I'm like, we need to empower each other.
Yeah.
But listen, the quickest people to tear you down, unfortunately, are going to be your own people. So I'm like, please don't go vote just because it is a female for the first time.
Oh my gosh. She's not qualified.
Not right now.
No, not her.
Not right now. Eventually, of course, but right now we've got a lot of work to do.
We can't play with this,
No.
What were you gonna ask? What were you gonna ask me?
I was gonna ask you, and I'm trying to find it. Your friend Jim, I'll go back to it. It's a message that we have in here, and I want to make sure I answer. And it's so Chaz, I want to acknowledge you right now. I saw your message about your daughter in boot camp.
Yeah.
And she says, she's scared to death as a
Yeah.
mother. And I would say it is unusual in my circumstance what happened. And ironically, Nicole, you hit on something that I don't know. A lot of people know a lot about me and my son. The obituary that's there is not the story.
Mhm.
So doing my legislation, it's two-step back for my son. So you hit on something that has to do with illegals. So that is, my law covers some things about border. It covers some things about what vehicles we're using that there's never been a law. And I'm like telling people that are very high up, and they're looking at me and going, "You're wrong." And I'm like, "No, I assume too. Don't assume. Listen to me. I'm telling the truth." So, and that's how Trump and I came across, because people just weren't understanding. And I said, you've got to understand what is going on here.
Right.
And I'm a fighter. It was like, am I going to lay down and cry, or am I going to get up and go say, hey, I can't have a child that can go to Iraq before he's allowed to drink, and then something happened with him in a whole different president cabinet that we had.
Right.
That's why you don't see a letter back there on that one. But we mentioned at the beginning of the show. So the illegal part is, there is a process. It's not like we don't want people here, but there's a process for a reason. And so two people that are gone because of it are, one is my son, and one is also a cousin, and he was in the Marines. I should not say was, I'm going to get in trouble. He's a Marine and border agent. So he decided, he saw things. He's like, wait a minute. So everyone should go look at that story. Jim, don't forget his story when you go this Saturday to talk with Trump in Pittsburgh. But what I was going to say is, we'll get into that later. And maybe I'll switch roles to where, Nicole, and you can get in and say, we're going to ask her, what is this? But Nicole, one of the big questions right here is from, and I think it's your friend, Jim. I'll pull it back up. And they're saying, what company?
Yeah.
And I'm
just
like,
reach out to me. Just reach out to me about the company. Hey, Amber. I just saw Amber's name pop up. Yeah, just reach out to me, because otherwise we'll be talking here for 2 more hours. And you could just hit me up on my Instagram, DM me, hit me up on my email. I believe Tracy has all of that. in there. Here, oh, one of my business partners actually just wrote, "That's my business partner."
That's what she said.
Because I do, it's really cool too. It's like, because I have helped so many other people too bridge that income gap with this. And so, and Debbie, the girl that just wrote that, like, she's amazing, because here she is in Texas. Her mom's never been on a vacation, and the company just awarded her a trip to Mexico. We're all going to Playa, and she's bringing her mom. And like, she's a teacher, she's a coach, and it's like, that's just not something that was available to her before. Right. And so, and then one day she writes me and she's like, "I'm literally crying because I was just able to pay off my car loan, with the money that I made here." And so, we're not only helping people change their lives financially, the health is the most important thing. And that's usually why people, will join me. But then they're like, wait, there's a financial aspect to this as well. And so, and it's really been life-changing for us, and just what it's done. But anyway, so just reach out to me on social, we'll connect. I love to Zoom with people because I love to find out, like, people are like, why do I got to jump on a Zoom? Because I want to personalize the experience. I want to know what is going on with you, like, physically. Right? Is it inflammation? And like, inflammation is like the silent killer in this country, right? Is it inflammation? Is it your heart? Is it eczema? Right? Tracy brought up eczema. Do you know how many families I help that have eczema? Like, it's crazy the amount of people that have eczema, and babies with eczema and psoriasis. So it's like, so anyway, so we'll talk about it. I'm happy, like I said, and I like to just jump on a Zoom because I like to personalize the experience. Some people just want to lose weight. Some people have heart health issues. Some people have gut health. Some people just are like, I just want to shop cleaner, greener products, right? So it's like, and if I'm like, this is a company, and then you go Google it, and it's like, but you're not going to see how I can help you. So that's why I want you to reach out to me directly so that we can connect, and we'll go from there. So,
but what I will say is that I have officially joined with Nicole.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
As of what, the other day? 2 days ago? Yeah, just officially. And so that's why I say, like, I'm not as educated right now.
Yeah.
But
so I'll help you.
Reach me. Go ahead and reach me at any point, and I'm going to turn and go, Nicole, really get me up to speed.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So I'm going to tell everyone that's going to message me. I see your messages. And if you'll do me a favor, I have her email here. For N Remini, Wiskow. It's Nicole Remini, who is on tonight. She's on Instagram. Yep. Nicole B. Remini. And then her email again is NREMINIWISKOW@gmail.com. Again, Nicole Remini. I want you to look it up, and I want you to go to Nicole so that she can give you the exact information and understand. And it's funny because Nicole's like, can you jump on and do the Zoom? And I was like, I know we're all busy. So it's like, if I can stop and go, okay, wait, I have to take a few minutes. Let me just do this.
Right. Well, you have to go, what's more important, right? Some people, they're like, I have no time. I'm like, okay, so tell me your favorite reality show. And then they're like, oh, I love The Real Housewives. I'm like, okay, can you give up that like 50 minutes, 40 minutes? And like, can we just help you for a second? Because those bitches ain't paying your bills, okay? So it's like, let's be real, okay? So it's like, sorry, I said the B word, but it's like, so it's like, that's the reality of it. It's like, you got to take care of you. You've got to make you a priority, because I got to tell you, big pharma is not. You know what's funny? Okay, dairy, one of the biggest contributors to cancer. But yet Susan B. Komen is like, great, send in the tabs and we donate money to cancer. And it's like, okay, wait, there's dairy in yogurt, and it's, you know what I mean? It's like, when you start putting all the pieces together, you're like, this country is insane.
Listen, in the United States, I mean, we only ban less than like 1,000 products in our own stuff. So I know in other European companies, it's like 3,000 plus ingredients.
Yes, like, it's incredible. There's only 11 banned ingredients in the United States.
Yeah, here. So I was, I actually was with a different company. So no, you're probably all assuming it's a company that I would have said something about in the past.
Yeah.
Because dairy doesn't like me. Even though I like dairy, I love red meat. I run low on iron.
Yeah.
I love red meat.
Well,
So
now you
that's
got to
another thing
buy
that caught
our
my
red
eye.
meat. Now you got to get our red meat so that you know that you're
And
not
that
getting
caught me. I
any.
was like, wait a minute. I love my steaks. I love my red meat, and
Yeah.
I need to have it, you know. And if it says organic, it's not really organic. So
Yes. Oh my
I
gosh.
am getting these messages, and I'm going, Nicole's going to be the one to be able to explain a lot more. Now, I know
Yeah.
the basics right now because I did take that time
Mhm.
in between running to pick up one kid and then planning for shows, or whether it's
Yeah.
like, I was like, stop, take a minute here, get on,
Yeah.
and let's chat. And
Yes, you
then
do. You have to prioritize
Yeah.
your life. You have to
if I
prioritize your
if I
health.
could do it, and I did it. And then I was like, wait a minute, Tracy, like you mentioned ranchers. We'll have on Mr. Sid Miller. He's head of agricultural. He's also one of, they call him Trump's man, literally. I'll bring up a picture, but Nicole, have you heard of, and I'm going to say this, so security watch, Biden's land grab? Have you heard about the ranchers and the farmers and the suicide rate because their land is being taken?
Yeah. Well, you know, and where we live in Arizona, I cannot tell you how much land Bill Gates has been buying. And we know a farmer that sold him, a rancher that sold him land. And I'm like, how did you do that? Right. And it's like knowing exactly what's going in to these fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So it's like now we have to make sure that we're buying, you know, food without the appeal label on it. It's like you got to look for it. Again, you got to be your own advocate, you guys. It's like, you know, and I'll say that whether it's with politics or what's, you know, you're putting in your mouth or putting on your body, you have got to be your own advocate and you've got to do the research. I don't know if it's just that people are like, I just trust it because, you know, if Target sells it, then it should be okay. And so I don't know if people go, the supermarket has it, so it must be okay. It's like, you just can't go through life like that. You have to be an advocate for yourself. And it's like people say to me, they're like, I love that I never have to do research again on products.
Right.
They're like, I love that I have 500 consumable goods at my fingertips and I do not have to read a label anymore.
Right. Right.
You know,
so, and on those labels, I always tell my kids, I'm like, if you can't pronounce that word, then we shouldn't be eating that food.
Holy Hannah, no kidding. Gosh, you guys.
So yes, I am someone who, not just me, but you know, even if you're a super healthy person, you don't want to ever get sick like that. So I do have to be careful. And I hope that everyone else is understanding the inflammation part is extreme for me. I have to go every 2 weeks still. I have to do a lot of things because even when I was yelling, going, something's wrong. Everyone else is like, but your numbers are in the normal range. And I'm like, I don't care. I am sick. I'm not normal.
And we're going to get you healthy. We're going to get you feeling better.
Oh, yeah. I'm on that road. So I was glad to bump into you. I'm so happy that I did.
And
I want
then
my
what do we say? What else do we say?
We have
early
to
vote. Get out. Do not wait for election day. Do not wait for election day. If you have early voting, do it now. We just don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. Like our kids didn't get to vote last year because all of those, or 4 years ago, because the machines went down. They were part of that, waiting in line for hours, right, to vote, and they never got to. We had kids whose votes didn't count because of machines not recording it correctly. So early vote, you can also check websites to see if your vote has been counted. I've already gotten 2 text messages that my vote was received, my vote was counted. So sign up to get those text messages, but also there is a website that you can go to, and I actually have it. I'll put it in my stories tonight, that you can go to and make sure your vote was counted and received. Because I think it's very, very important. Again, you've got to be your own advocate, right? So it's like, get out early. Do not wait for voting day. I know Minnesota polls are open. Arizona is open. I don't know. I think
Texas
Florida
opens on Monday, everybody. Texas is Monday. I want to make sure you all get this. We're 19 days and 3 hours from that day. So I even have, I'm like, I can tell you the minutes if I turned around and was rude and grabbed my phone, but it is something that's very important. So it's interesting, this whole show, for everyone that didn't catch us live, it will be out there. Not only that, on the podcast. I want to make sure that they understand, because we're all able to see each other right now. So I hope that they pay attention. And that's why I want to make sure, Nicole Remini is on Patriots Inside the Wire. If you listen as an audio, you should probably go back and find the actual video. It will stay around on YouTube. It will stay around on your social media sites. But Nicole Remini is on Instagram. It's Nicole B. Remini.
Yeah.
And then I do have her email here on purpose, because I have now started to work with Nicole because of, not just for health reasons. There's a lot of reasons. Like I mentioned, we don't have someone paying the bills right now so that we can be patriots and talk to you. So there's a lot of reasons that I was like, I've got to do something, but I just can't go back to a structure of a corporate building. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I want to make sure that they understand that they can email you at NREMINIWISKOW@gmail.com. That's her name. It's N. Remini. I'm not going to mess up your last name. NREMINIWISKOW.
NReminiWisco@gmail.com. I also, there's a link tree on my Instagram, so that'll also email me as well. There are a few videos on my link tree that kind of gives you information on that lung damage study. I believe there's stuff on the meat as well. And kind of cool, this month, if you do get a beef subscription, you get 2 free ribeyes. So that's one thing the company is doing as well this month. And there's no contracts. If it's like if you've done a Butcher Box or Omaha Steaks, well, these are American raised cattle with no icky in them. And I have pictures of what, like, their ribeye next to our ribeye. It's like this to this. It's insane. And it's actually about $50 less than a Butcher Box or Omaha Steaks. And again, it's like, we're talking American raised cattle, and that, that should mean something. And so,
well, and supporting your fellow Americans and the farmers and the ranchers, we need to be supporting our own. So there's so many reasons we could sit here for hours.
Yes.
And I'd say, Nicole, let's switch seats real quick. Jim, let's switch seats real quick. And let's all just you're looking at 3 different people who actually are literally really all alike, ironically. So we all have something in common out there. I always tell people, I'm like, let me look inside. Like, you have a heart in there, right? Like, okay, you do too. So, get to the heart of things, which means at least start looking, pay attention. I don't want anyone to ever lose their child. So whatever your decision is, Chas, I saw that. They're going to email you, Nicole.
Okay.
That's the mother that just the first in boot camp and is scared. And you can reach me too, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just
well,
you
and
go to the show.
I'll walk you through boot camp. I'll tell you, we've dealt with it 4 times.
You can help. I still do all of that, but I want her to go to you right now. Now you can come to Patriots Inside the Wire. You can go to the website. You can go to our email, info@patriotsinsidethewire.com. And I will turn right around and forward that to Nicole.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, I'm here to help. If it makes sense, I want everybody to also feel like all I want to do is educate you. And if it makes sense for you, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. You will find that I am a no pressure person. I'm really about education. And if it makes sense for you to be a customer, awesome. And if it doesn't, like I said, that's fine as well. You'll never find me pressuring anybody. But I appreciate you two so very much and what you've sacrificed. And I'm going to tell my son that I talked to you tonight, Jim.
I love it.
I think he'll really appreciate that. And yeah, so that's all I got, you guys.
You know, I'm just grateful to have found you. And so, yes, I am officially on board with the company. I have watched certain things. I do know it's an American-made company. I was very, very interested. We will have on the 30th, Jim and Nicole, and for everyone out there, we will have Trump's man, is what they call him, his best friend, who is head of all of the agriculture, who goes to Kenya. He goes to other countries, and he will tell you the truth about all of this. He's been a rancher. Right now, he's out of Texas, but they're the ones that were campaigning as Trump could not. Gas and groceries right there. So we do have that too. If you go to gasandgroceries.us, you put in your zip code, it will tell you literally your price here versus now versus what office. Yeah. So I like to make sure that people are going. So this fits also with what you're talking about, Nicole. It's like, okay, let's also look at what you're actually paying now.
Right. That's so good. That's so good. And you know, if you want to learn about beef, this is not part of our company, but go to knowyourbeef.com and you could read everything about the truth about the beef industry. And again, knowyourbeef.com. It's very, very eye-opening. You can download videos, you can watch the videos. I mean, they talk about the health of the cattle, what goes into it hormone-wise, and you'll learn about grass-fed and grain finished and all of that, because that is all a big farce as well. Because what legally they're allowed to finish that cattle off with is not what you think. So anyway, whole another topic for another day.
Well, you're welcome on Patriots Inside the Wire at any time, especially right now as we're trying to push the messages. So if there's someone that needs to come on here over the next, 19 days and I think it's 4 hours, I am literally telling everyone, okay, like I will open up for this day and this day I'll change times. Yeah. But I do want them to, again, Jim, you were here when the commissioner was on. He'll be on the 30th on purpose. We're usually live on a Wednesday. We will go live on a Monday and Wednesday. We're very flexible right now. And it's so that we get some people in here who can tell you the real truth. So tonight we're talking about your products and your environment. And Nicole, between your challenges, the obstacles, your passion, I believe the things that you've had to experience, that's where this led you. Is that what happened? Like you had to go through so many obstacles. Yeah. And you had to go here.
And it's funny because I can say I could have been like very angry, again, being put in a cult and all of those things that we experienced. I could be angry that I lost so many people in my life to cancer, right? It's like I could be just a very ugly and angry person. But I just chose to completely go the opposite way. I'm like, I'm going to win in this life, right? And I'm going to break some cycles here. And that's really what got me to where I am today. And so I think, people that deal with me will find, again, 98% of what my social media is very inspirational. It's really to lift you up. I'll do very silly things on Reels, and I am not the funny one in the family. My sister is. But, I really like to have fun and, we're just in a position in our lives where we're really able to enjoy our lives and I want to be grateful for it. So it's like, I don't want to be angry. I don't want to fight with people. Like you said, I mean, there's a lot of people behind that keyboard that want to be so nasty and they're so brave behind a keyboard, and I'm the person that's like, hey, I'll give you my address. Like, you want to show up? I'll meet you on the front porch. Like, don't let me get like my Brooklyn out on you. It's like, I will take these earrings out. So it's like, I've become a fighter, but I really learned to love life and enjoy the things that I have and to be extremely grateful to God for the things that he has brought and how he's blessed our lives. And so all I can do is just bring that out to other people. So if my politics upsets you, sorry, not sorry, right? It's like, I'm sorry, but I'm worried about I don't have grandchildren yet. I'm going to have 2 step grandchildren, but it's like, I am worried about their futures.
Yes.
And people should be worried about their children's futures right now. So it's like, that's why I'm like, sorry, not sorry. You know, it's like, again, I come from Hollywood, and a lot of my friends don't think the way that I think. You know, we just don't talk about it.
Right.
Right.
Right. And then the other side, Nicole, is that I'm really big into the music environment. So, you know, and we have a lot of veterans out there that send us a lot of music. So we usually end a show by asking the guests to pick one of them. And then we bring up some things to make sure that they understand what we're talking about here on the show. But I want to say it's patriotsinsidethewire.com. If you want to send us a message there, it will go direct into our account. We'll make sure that Nicole gets it until I get more information and more informed. Yeah. I really like for people to know more than me. So right now, while I'm learning, we're going to let Nicole. And so Nicole Remini, NREMINIWISKOW @ gmail.com. And that is Nicole Remini. Easy to find on Instagram. Her email is there. It's nremini, WISKOW @ gmail.com. Yes, we will be a podcast tomorrow. So that is why I am spelling it. You would be amazed at some of the messages I get. I'm like, if you're listening, then I need to tell you and enunciate.
Right.
This is her email.
Awesome.
So,
well, I am going to go hang out with our winner of the John Levitow Award, my Air Force order. I'm going to get running. I feel like you guys got a lot of me tonight, so I'm probably boring people at this time. At this point. But like I said, I adore you too, and I love that I spent time with you. And I thank the people who, you know, spent time to listen. And I hope it was a little bit educational, and I would love to connect with anybody who wants to connect. But yeah, we're in Vegas visiting our daughter in the Air Force who graduated from a leadership school tonight. And like, yeah, so it was amazing. Like I said, she got the highest award in the class, and she was the only one asked to speak. So
we called them
it was pretty amazing. So I'm going to go spend some time with her.
She's a hero.
Being that I was sitting on the wrong,
we can skip the song if you want, Nicole. You want us to skip it?
You know what? I wish I would have known I had to pick a song. I am the worst when it comes to, all I listen to is Christian music. That is all I
can
listen
tell you the veterans.
You know.
And so one veteran is Brooks Herring.
Okay, do it.
I have Malachi. I have a lot here. It's just that the ones that I have an actual exclusive with, and I am going back into radio too, but it's going to be easy. I'm just going to plug in a whole other destination. But
I love it.
You could either pick, Nicole. You've got one called One Hell of a Woman, The Good Parts, Coming Home, Wallet Size, For Those That Remain, Stand by Mike Corrado, which I've never heard.
Oh, well, I was going to say, let's do Coming Home, being that, you know, we do want to bring all of our soldiers home, right? All of those serving home. But let's go with the one that you said you never heard.
Oh, really?
What? Okay, well, you haven't heard it. Let's listen to it.
Okay, so Mike Corrado, I only know from going to a recent music event. We will be building Patriot Fest. That will be coming. I actually have mentioned that to Nicole too, and she's like, hey, wait a minute. So we will get Patriot Fest off the ground. This is Mike Corrado. Now, I do want you to check out. So each season is 3 months in a broadcast world. So I'm used to kind of that route. But Brooks Herring, the reason I bring him up is because he has been so good to the show. And like, we have so many of his songs, and he's just never, ever, ever said like, no, or you have to do this, or you have to jump through all these hoops. So we want to be grateful to our veterans and make sure they're ready. It's just like the show. If you don't add this to your playlist or like it or subscribe, nobody gets credit there. Same for our veteran musicians. Make a playlist, just veterans music.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to do. But so that is Derek Stoner, Mike Corrado, Brooks Herring, Malachi, Chris Turner, Sal Gonzalez. But for the songs that I actually have, it's Coming Home or one called Stand.
Well, like I said, since you haven't heard Stand, let's do that. Because then I'm thinking, All right, let's hear it.
All right, Mr. Mike Corrado, I do not know you well, but you gave us this song, and we're playing it because Miss Nicole Remini has said she wants to hear it. So we are about to listen to Stand by Mike Corrado. As you know, stand by and listen for this veteran and his music, and then look at Brooks Herring for his music too. And here we go. We will play this and bring up some pictures, Nicole, that you can see. And for anyone that's just listening to the podcast, I encourage you to go to the broadcast. If you want to go just to the end and see the pictures we're bringing up, it is something that I encourage you to do. So you'll be seeing something here in a moment. Again, it's Mike Corrado, and the song is called Stand. And Nicole Remini has picked this song.
Oh, gosh, you're scaring me.
Some signed up first chance they could at 17 and had their mama sign the paper so they could leave. And on the bus ride out of town, the families gathered round and wave as they'd leave. And they come from the shores of Carolina, through the plains to the hills of California, with a hunger deep inside and a burning desire to be free. And they stand upon my wall, and they stand up for us soul, and they stand for the ones who've gone before. They stand. Everyone wants to be a hero. Some don't want to pay the price. You think living free comes easy, just as those who sacrifice. As they stand for the chance to believe, oh, stand so we can be anything we want to be. Oh, stand so our children can be free. And they stand. It's a time to fight and a time to fold. But give it air, our words they've never known. And so they stand up on a wall, and they stand. They stand up for us all, and they stand. For the ones who've gone before, they stand. And we stand for the chance to believe. Oh, stand so you can be anything you want to be. Oh, we stand so our children can be free. Yeah, we stand. We say prayers for those no longer with us, and the families who stand behind those who protect us. On the bus riding back to town, everyone gathers round from those who stay.
Add me back. There we are. That is by Mike Corrado. The song is called Stand. And Nicole, you did a great job there. That is a picture of Jim with Riley there. Riley McCullum, the fist
Wait,
there,
Mike.
UFC. This is Riley's baby girl. right here. Her name is Levi Riley Rose. And so, Jim, as you head to Pittsburgh on Saturday to speak, I am on standby to literally, if I have to call Nicole or someone, I'll be like, let's get some people, because then you'll be on the opposite side, Jim. But I can't wait to hear more. And Nicole, I can't wait to hear more with you too. So there's a whole other level that we could, I'm all about adding other shows. I want health and wellness.
Yeah.
And I also want, patriotism. So there's so many things that we could use this platform for that aren't just me. So I don't ever make this about just me. It's about the people. So we are open to using a platform, picking another day. I have tried to do it with someone else before, and it's just a matter of someone who can, wants to do it and can stick to that time frame or that day because of scheduling. You understand, between studio and radio, it's like you mess with their airtime, you're in trouble. But we're okay because we pay them. I actually pay them out of my own pocket, and that's where I got to figure out sponsorship and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be about money, just like what you're talking about with the products.
Yeah.
Cancer. And in the last 48 hours, I've got 2 more calls of unfortunate people who passed away, not even at 50 something yet.
Yeah.
And that's literally in the last 48 hours. And then 3 weeks ago, as close as you can get to me, because I don't really have blood. I don't have any of them living now except for one, but I didn't have them. But the one that just passed from the breast cancer.
Yeah, we gotta break this cycle. We gotta break it.
It's awful. So it's not just females; it's all of us, and it's about cleaning up a lot of lanes. We're talking about go vote. We are talking about cleaning up an area in your life where health was really mainstream during COVID. I think it kind of got a hold of some people going, wait a minute.
Yeah, so, it really did.
Right. So thank you for joining us tonight, Nicole. And I want to make sure everybody goes to Nicole Remini, Nicole B. Remini. That's Remini. She's on Instagram, or go to her email again, Nicole Remini. I'm not going to butcher this. Say your last name again.
Wisco, Nicole.
Okay,
Nicole.
I'm country.
Remini.
I was going to say Miss Cow.
Yeah, everybody does. My business partner did for 6 years. I didn't want to fix it. Yeah.
It's the country of me. I'm like, it's going to be Miss Cow. So I don't want to mess that up.
Everybody does it. Yeah. So just hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up via email. My link tree is on there too. So if you reach out to me there, it'll go to my email address. P.S. Great song choice. I thought. I thought that song was great. I loved it. I love the words. I loved his voice. You put that in
I need to come on the show.
Video, and that would be that song would be a great hit. So, all right, everybody, you guys be blessed.
Nicole, if you can, before you go away, I have to log us out. So if everybody will stand by a moment and not go anywhere. Jim,
absolute pleasure, Nicole.
It was wonderful talking to you. It really was. You and I we're gonna be in touch. You and I.
Yes. And we'll make sure that Chaz and all the other people. So thank you for joining us on Patriots Inside the Wire. Do not log out yet. I have to play the exit, and then that way all of your audio stays with the show. True story has to happen. So let's roll us out right here. And what we'll do is go to Nicole. You can go to NREMINIWISKOW@gmail.com. That is Nicole Remini. You can find her also on Instagram. On Patriots Inside the Wire, stay tuned. Jim is going to Pittsburgh on Saturday to speak with Trump. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for watching another episode of Patriots Inside the Wire, hosted by Gold Star Mom, Tracy Two-Step. Help us broaden our reach. Like, subscribe, and share.
So out of my brother Two-Step.